Like most people these days, we have a camera in our house. Mostly because we're too cheap to get an actual alarm system, and this way, we can at least keep an eye on things when we go away or something. Last week, it picked something up that I actually wish had just been a burglar or something. Like I said, it started last week. It was almost literally at exactly 3 a.m. We woke in the morning at normal time and noticed an alert on our phones from the camera. Now, for the nosleep community who always ask for it, I have a present for all of you. Instead of just talking about what I saw, I'm going to actually show you. Here's the video. Light show. This video is not altered in any way. This is my actual living room as it was that night. We had no idea what caused this, what looked to be explosion. I also took a snapshot of where the apparent light show came from, next to camera. As you can see in the picture, there's no light bulb anywhere that could have blown and caused the distortions. We were puzzled, and even a little alarmed by what we saw, but in the end we kind of put it out of our minds. Until, of course, things started happening. The first thing we noticed was with our son. Even as a baby, he's been a tremendous sleeper. Once we got to about 3 months, we felt like we were spoiled by how well he slept. He's 3 now, and out of literally nowhere he was suddenly afraid of the dark. Like, overnight. I know as kids get older, things like this start happening as they become more aware of their surroundings. But like I said, this literally happened overnight. He was back to being a newborn, not sleeping, needing extra holding, waking up multiple times a night. We finally got him a night light, and now he likes his door open. We started keeping ours open as well, since our room is visible from his bed, and things got a little better. There was one night in particular he was really bad. My wife had to work the next morning, and he was keeping us up, and we were sick of him acting like a newborn again, more or less. It got to the point I had to threaten him with closing the door. He really flipped when I said, okay, no more nightlight. No, the shadow man. This made my blood run cold. What? What did you just say? I'm all about the paranormal. I believe in ghosts or spooks and all kinds of stuff like that. I've just never seen one. My son saying shadow man put me on edge because he shouldn't have any concept of shadow people or even know what a shadow man is. What did you say, buddy? What shadow man? The shadows move, was all he said. I took him in the guest room with me, and we slept with a brighter nightlight on. He slept like a rock. I work nights currently. I've been okay to move to day shift, but we just need to hire more people. Anyway, I had to go back to a night schedule, so the first night I'm at work, I get a text from my wife about 10 p.m. This would have been 2 days after the Shadow Man incident. OMG, Molly, our dog, won't shut up. She won't take her eyes off the kitchen door, and she just keeps growling. Now, the kitchen was dark at this time, just a tad brighter than pitch black with the moon shining in, and she sends me another text that our fridge is busted. She suddenly saw a faint light coming from the kitchen, and she found the fridge was cracked. It apparently wouldn't stay sealed. When I came home the next morning, I checked it, and the seal seemed fine. Wheels were starting to turn in my head. My son goes to preschool, and my wife works, so I have the house to myself when I need to sleep. This next event was during the day, so I know it's not just shadow people in our house. I go to sleep about 9:30 a.m. At roughly 12:45, I wake up to our dog going crazy. I hear a bark I've never heard from her before, followed by a growl I can only describe as feral and defensive. I rush downstairs, and she's in the kitchen facing the last door I would want her to be looking at, the basement door. Her back is arched, and her hair is up. I've never in the 9 years we've had her seen her bare her teeth outside of playing. Her teeth are showing, and with that growl, I've never heard. Does she ever mean business? She's only 20 pounds, but if someone was breaking in and saw this tiny dog baring her teeth and making the sound she was, they'd turn right around and find another house. Molly, I yell quietly, not sure if someone is in the house. She sees me and rushes over, teeth put away. She whimpers a little and gets in my lap. She was ready to fight, but she definitely seemed scared. I get my gun, A 1911 45, I have loaded with hollow points and approached the basement door. Thinking to myself, shit is going on around here. I'm starting to get pissed since I haven't had a good night's day's sleep for days. If there's an intruder in the basement, they're fucking dead. Now we only have a half basement, so there's very little room to hide. The other half is a crawl space accessible from underneath the wooden stairs we have that go down. I flip the light on and head down. Everything seems in order. I turn the corner to look under the stairs and nearly shit. The entrance to the crawl space is open. We are very fortunate. Our crawl space isn't the spider-infested dungeon you're probably thinking of whenever you hear the word crawl space. It's actually very clean and spacious for some reason. The few times we've had to go in there, it actually wasn't that bad. Anyway, I get our huge LED camping lantern and stick it in the frame, which is a perfect square, and try to reason with whoever may be down there. For good measure, here's a picture of our crawl space. My hand for scale. As you can see, it's really not that bad. Crawl space. Alright, listen. If someone is in here, just come on out slowly. I'm not playing around. I will shoot you if you don't come out right now. I gave them about 15 seconds to comply. Nothing happened. I was pissing my pants, but I checked every inch of that crawl space. There was no evidence at all that anyone had been hiding. None. None. It has a sand floor once you get past some initial plastic near the entrance, and everywhere I went, the sand was undisturbed. I know that anybody that may have evaded didn't escape, because Molly was on lookout at the top of the stairs. If someone had been in there and made it out without me seeing, she'd have barked to holy hell upon seeing them. I crawled out and put the cover back on and went back upstairs. Molly seemed to have calmed down, so we both went upstairs again. I don't know how, but I somehow fell back asleep. With all these events occurring, our camera had sadly not picked up anything. That night was my last night to work for a few days, so I'd be switching back to a day schedule. I'd simply take a short nap when I got home, and then sleep again at night. I kept checking my phone for camera alerts, but none came. I talked to my wife and she agreed some strange things had been going on, but she didn't believe like I did, so I couldn't convince her to stay at her mom's for a few days. I checked the camera whenever I had a chance, and everything seemed in order. About 4:15 a.m., I get a text from my wife. Our TV in our room turned on, and she wasn't sure how it happened since the remote was on her bedstand. She also said she didn't know which show was even on, but she told me she really got the feeling the characters were looking at the screen too much. She felt like not only for the type of show it appeared to be that they shouldn't be looking directly at the camera so much, but she felt they were even making direct eye contact with her. She turned it off and went to pee, and then said she heard a noise in our son's room. Now, our son's room is the smallest one we have, and with his bed and furniture, there's not a ton of floor space. Right in the very middle of the floor is an extremely creaky board. We're considering not fixing it because it would be literally impossible for him to sneak out. The creak can be heard from everywhere in our house. Anyway, she texts me she heard the creak loud and clear, so she rushed in since she thought he was out of bed. He wasn't. He was sound asleep. No, was sound asleep. Then, of course, Molly, our guardian, started growling. She took our son in with her in our guest room and locked the door. It made her feel safe. Molly stopped growling, but my wife said she heard the creak again at about 5 and wasn't able to get back to sleep. She just stayed up until it was time to get up for work. Now, most of you are probably thinking, why are we still there? For fuck's sake, get out. Well, we're almost there. That morning, I mentioned to her, we need to start thinking about not being here until we figure this out. We rewatched the initial light show video, and I try to convince her that has to be it. Something came over from the other side somehow, and things are getting worse. She's still a skeptic, I know. She's that character if this were a movie, but anyway, she goes to work, and I go to bed. I actually slept great until about 1:30 p.m. I woke up naturally and felt like turning over. Maybe take a pee even. I'm about to move when I freeze. Something is wrong with our bed. I feel weight behind me since I'm sleeping on my side. Now, my wife is at work, so it's definitely not her. She's a school teacher, so she doesn't magically get off early ever. It's not Molly because she's only 20 pounds. You can't feel her in the bed with you. No, this is the weight of someone, or something, laying next to me. I try to figure out what I'm going to do. The gun is locked up on account of the kid, but I do have a baseball bat standing next to the gun cabinet. My plan is to jump up, grab it, then go from there. I do just that. I was faster than even I thought I'd be. Within a second, I had the bat in my hands. I turned, raised it high, ready to strike, and stopped. There was definitely something in bed with me. It was sleeping on its side, turned away from me. It was completely under the covers except for its head, which had long, greasy, stringy black hair. My wife is a dirty blonde. I drop the bat and get the ever-loving fuck out of my room. I rush downstairs yelling Molly car ride, her favorite thing, and grab my keys. I pull out onto the street and pause. I checked my back seat and nothing was there, luckily. I closed the garage door and drove to the grocery store, not sure where else to go. Luckily, I had a beater t-shirt in my back seat I could put on, so I am at least dressed. I text my wife, then call her. She answers thinking it's an emergency. I tell her we are not going back to our house. I tell her what happened, and she says we'll talk. I called her parents since they live closest and told them, despite how it sounds, what was happening, and they said we could stay. They came over and helped us pack some stuff. We thought strength in numbers would somehow help us having to go back in our house. So that was it. Almost, I should say. Anybody reading this saying, move out, we are. Unless it's demonic, which we don't think it was, it shouldn't follow us. What sealed the deal was our camera. I finally captured something else. We woke up the next morning at her parents' and there was an alert. I got a dreadful feeling in my gut but knew I had to watch it. It turned out to be a still capture instead. I'm not sure why it didn't record any video before or after it, but at least it still captured something. Strange picture. Anyway, in case you're wondering, we have no idea who the actual fuck this person is. Never seen them before in my life. I even scoured Facebook's people you may know and checked all my friends' friends, and I still don't know who the hell this is. We called our neighbor, and he said our front door was closed, and he even tried it to make sure it was locked. He said he peeked in the windows and went around back, and it didn't look like there was forced entry at all. There was nothing disturbed in the house that he could see. He asked if he should go in since he knew where our spare was, and I told hell fucking no, don't go in. I called the cops, and they went in. They reported absolutely no sign of forced entry, and not one thing inside appeared to be disturbed. The crawl space was intact. The attic was secure. They could find no trace of anybody having been there, nor could they really find any place someone would be able to hide that well from them or us. They said the guys who checked had experience with people hiding in walls or crawl spaces, so if they didn't find anything, chances are there was nothing to find. So there you have it. We're slowly getting our shit out. We only want to be in there so long, even though stuff happened during the day, which means it isn't exactly safe. We only work from about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and lots of people helping. Call us crazy, but nothing has happened while we're all there. Maybe they sensed we were leaving so they left too. Or maybe they're still there, biding their time until the next owners move in.